welcome to In My Toolbox. My name is Enrico, your host. Welcome to this weekly talk show that will help you learn on how to maximize and optimize your hard-earned money and be able to build a dependable future for you and your family. But always, guys, in any idea that will transpire in this show, always consult with your financial advisors, insurance professionals, and tax consultants. Okay? Please join this show, or please join me every Thursday at 8 p.m. here at PHLV Radio. We call this In My Toolbox. You can download the app on your smartphones or simply go to PHLV Radio in your Facebook accounts. Also, we have this show in podcasts like Spotify and iTunes, and other platforms as well. Here we will look into our financial toolbox, financial strategies and processes on how to accumulate, preserve, and protect and distribute our hard-earned money and assets. While we are so focused in looking for money, making money, adding more income, you have to learn and understand, guys, that you have to be educated as well in making money. On the three phases as well of making money, you have to understand it. That's what I just mentioned there. Accumulate, preserve and protect, and distribute these assets. You cannot just buy meat without knowing the process of cooking. I don't know if that makes sense, right? So if you have some questions, ask them away on the chat box right now in front of you, or if you are listening to the show on a later time, please feel free to connect with me via Facebook page of In My Toolbox, or connect with me on Instagram at Enrico Pobre, that's one word, or on my LinkedIn account, just search Enrico Pobre, or email me at enrico.inmytoolbox@gmail.com. All right, so good evening again. My name is Enrico Pobre. I'm sales, marketing, and trainer, an economist, an entrepreneur, and also a financial professional. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is a very, very important topic, So I've been thinking of what's the next topic of In My Toolbox. So I've said, okay, let's just talk about something that people probably are not really aware of. It may sound not important to most, but I'm telling you, this is critical to your financial foundation. So I have these awesome people who will definitely help us give light to a similarly complicated topic, but very important to learn and understand. So people who's going to be helping me are good friends of mine. Let's just start off with Mr. Raul Texan, a veteran financial professional that focuses on life insurance and annuity. He is the Director of Estate Planning and Trust Director of I4 Global. So welcome to the show, Mr. Raul. And also, Ms. Leslie Hale, the Vice President and Director of Operation of Heritage Living Trust. And Mr. Larry Baldwin, the founder, if I may use the Godfather too, and Executive Director of Heritage Living Trust. Guys, welcome to In My Toolbox. Thank you for being here with us tonight. You might want to greet everybody, guys. So,
good evening, everybody.
Yes. Very good, very good. So, the one with Animal Lasal at the back, that's Raul. And of course, Larry and Leslie over there. So let's just dive down to our topic, friends, okay? So we're going to be talking about estate planning and living trust tonight. So the question here is, why is it important to talk about this estate planning and living trust? Or probably, let me just tell you, probably the first question we would want to come out of this conversation is, what if a person dies without a will? Because the reason why I'm going to use the word will, because everybody probably is used to hearing the word will, So what if a person dies without a will? What happens, guys? Anybody can answer the question.
Sorry.
If a person dies, I'm sorry, I'll just jump right in.
Yeah, please.
Go ahead.
If a person dies without a will, then their estate is guaranteed to go through a process called probate. Probate is technically it's a process of getting their assets out of the deceased name and into the name of their beneficiaries. Now, there's so much more to the process of probate, but in a nutshell, that's what it is.
Awesome.
And,
Thank you so much for that, Leslie. Leslie, there's a word that I encountered. The word was intestate. What does intestate mean, guys?
Intestate, yes.
Larry, you want to take that?
Well, I just simply say that if you die intestate, it means you don't have even a scrap of paper indicating what you want to happen to your assets when you die. If that's the case, then it will automatically go into probate, and probate, the process of probate will write a will for you.
Okay.
And they will be the ones determining who gets your assets, when they get them, and how they get them. And it's a long and very expensive process.
There you go. Now I'm scared now, Mr. Larry. We're just starting the conversation. Okay, long and expensive. Two things that I don't enjoy right now, right? I only have, little time left, and then expenses or expensive. That's okay. Okay, I'm getting scared here. But let's just talk about this one, sir. Okay. If you may allow me, Larry, Leslie, and Raul, at some point in the conversation, I'll be putting some, Tagalog infusing Tagalog in my in things that I would like to explain how things are. So, intestate, guys, it just means that, Larry, I think I got it from you. You said that, a person doesn't have any say who receives the assets. Right? So mga kaibigan, what Larry is trying to say, ang sinasabi niya rito, that these people, or when a person dies, wala ka ng pagkakataon para makapagsabi na kung kanino mapupunta ang iyong assets. So you don't have any say now who will receive the assets. Is that correct, Larry?
Yes, that is correct. If you don't have a legal document prepared to say how your estate is to be handled,
wow,
then you will be intestate. If you have a will, you're not intestate because you formed an instruction document as to how you want it settled. But a will, if I may say so, and I don't want to get too far into this without you prompting me, but if you have a will, you're really not in a very good position because a will is nothing more than instructions to the probate court as to how you want your estate settled.
Wow.
And of course, all of the expenses and tie-ups of your assets apply, even if you have a will. A will is not good.
Okay. So don't try to name your son Will. I'm just kidding. Okay. So it's not good. So kita mo mga kaibigan, I could not even pronounce intestate. Did I pronounce it correct?
Intestate.
Yun yung mahirap dito. Pronunciation pa lang mali na. No? So, intestate, ganun pala yan. So, you don't have any say to whoever will receive your assets. So, just going back to the word probate. So, we're talking about probate. So, you said, Larry and Leslie, that it's an expensive legal process which will determine who inherits what. Right? So that in Tagalog, right, guys, ang ibig lang sabihin ng probate, it's going to be very expensive, masyadong mahal ang proseso nito para lang malaman sino ang makakakuha ng iyong estate. So the question here now, Leslie or Raul, anybody can answer this, how long and how much? Yun ang tanong, how long and how much is going to for people to undergo probate.
Leslie, go ahead.
Well, Raul hasn't spoken yet. You want to take
No, I was going to say good question. As a matter of fact, it depends on the location, the state, right? And also the size of the state.
Oh, okay.
So basically, the average estate is about $500,000, including everything. That's a low amount. So it goes anywhere from 5% to 10% of the estate is going to be lost to probate.
Wow.
And depending on where you're located.
The gross value.
Yeah, gross estate. Now, that's assuming the estate doesn't even increase in value. It's just
okay
at $500,000. So 5% of that, you already know it's $25,000. And it takes anywhere from 3 to 8 years.
What?
3 to 8 years, not to mention during that time, the beneficiaries cannot do anything with the assets. They cannot sell the home. They cannot rent it. They cannot do anything but wait through the process of probate. It's public record, it's time consuming, and it's aggravating, to say the least.
Oh, well, okay, now I'm the second level of being scared again. Okay, let me just put it this way, okay? my anxiety is just going up like this, guys. Okay, let's just do this. So now, just how we started the conversation. So if a person dies without a what do you call this? The living trust that we're talking about, right? You know, their estate will undergo probate. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So now when they undergo probate, so husband and wife, the husband dies. Ngayon, ang mangyayari, when the husband dies, the spouse cannot just say, hey, this is my property too, you know? So is that the case, Larry? Is that what it is? Because the probate court will get all the assets. They will freeze the asset, right?
Generally, assets are owned by both the husband and the wife in a marriage.
Yes, that's right.
And so if one of the individuals dies, it's very likely that the entire estate will be locked up in probate if they have a will or if they're intestate and they have nothing. All right? So it can still tie up a lot of things. We've seen cases where individuals had a lot of stock, for example, and they were in probate, and the stock started taking a nosedive in value, and the client could not even take their stock out of probate in order to try to save it. They have valuable stock that diminished to practically nothing during the probate process, and like you said, probate can take 3 to 5 years to complete, and it is a nightmare. If you've ever talked to anyone that's had to go through that on behalf of their parents or their spouse, they will admit that they'd rather go to hell than have to deal with probate.
Wow, can you imagine that? You know, I remember Larry and Leslie and Raul. You know, I was driving in Pahrump, and you know, I was running 40, and then it's out on a 35. So what happened? Of course, you already know. Police pulled me over. And in that area, you have to go to the court, you know, when they give you a ticket, okay? So I went to the court. I didn't like the feeling. Can you imagine that? And I'm just talking about a car, a moving violation. Yeah. And now I'm talking about probate, all my assets. Oh my God, it's all in the court and I can do anything about it. That's really a nightmare, guys. You know? So that's, I don't want to be in that position.
You feel pretty helpless.
No.
You feel pretty helpless.
Assets can be frozen so quickly that sometimes families can't even get enough money to pay for the funeral. You know, I mean, that's really how quickly they can be frozen. And
the way it sounds, Leslie, is that, you know, it doesn't matter what your situation is. Once it's in probate court, it doesn't matter. It just has to go through the process, right?
Yeah, completely out of your control.
So
it's locked up.
It's locked up, right? So now you were saying, just a recap about the probate. So now if you have $1 million of an asset, you die. Now the probate court will hold these assets, you know, ABC assets. And then even the wife or whoever would like to claim on it, no, it's a hold, right, by the probate court. Now it would take about 3 to 5 years, if I heard it right. And then the expenses is 5 to 10% of your gross asset. Did I say it right?
Gross value of the estate.
Gross value.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, keep that in mind. It's gross asset. You don't get to subtract the liabilities.
Wow.
They value your estate based upon its market value.
Wow. So if your total estate is $1 million, so more likely about $50,000 to $100,000 the probate court is going to get out of your estate. Is that what you're saying?
Easy.
Well, generally, you know, the difference between gross and net. You know, your net assets are your basic assets minus any debt. All right, so it's like equity in your home. If you have a $500,000 home and you have it almost paid off, they don't care.
Wow.
They will take the full $500,000 of the value of your home is the value that goes into probate.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, Larry, to interrupt you, but I mean, I like to look at it a little bit differently. May I? I'm sorry.
Of course.
Just like if you only have $100,000 of equity in your home, but your home is worth $500,000.
There you go.
They calculate the probate costs based on the $500,000.
Wow.
So, I mean, if you only have a little bit of equity, they're going to base their fees on the full value. So you're really getting, I mean, I'm not going to say the word, but
Yeah.
You mean the short end of the stick, right?
That's what you're getting. See, Raul knew.
Politically correct. Politically correct statement.
Wow. And that's crazy. And
Terrible.
by the way, guys,
Well, and that's what the attorneys base their fees on. And the
Right.
attorneys get paid first at probate settlement. They
Wow.
get paid first, and the family gets what's left.
wow. I'm doing the math already at the back of my head, and I just, look at this, guys. Especially for Filipinos, we come over here in United States of America. We build our dream here. Thank you for the opportunity. And then we start building it. Especially for the Filipinos who just came here, they need to know this. Again, it's not just buying the meat. You also need to know how to cook it. It means that it's not just the earnings. You know how to accumulate it, to preserve it, and distribute. All of these processes. And talking about living trust is something that is very important to talk about and learn and put it into your financial processes. So we were talking about how much is 5 to 10% of your total gross value of your estate. If that's
Yes.
$1 million, there's a $50,000 to $100,000, just like what Raul said, easy. Who is willing to give that amount of money, your hard-earned money, and just because you didn't do the process correctly, not having a living trust, and it just go bye-bye?
I
Maka?
don't think anybody would be if
Exactly.
they knew,
And-
if they knew that is what they would be facing.
And that's really scary. And the second thing too, that's money part. The second part is how long? 3 to 5 years of anxiety, disturbance. Oh my God, it's really a hell. You are correct there. Who said that? I would rather go to hell than go to probate process.
Yeah, that was me. But I do want to make one point here that's relevant to what you guys are engaged in doing, and that is your representatives, your professionals who are out there talking to clients, bear a certain moral obligation to let their clients know what's happening. If all they're doing is telling them about how they can make a lot of money in investments and things of that sort, and they're not touching on this fact, then what they're doing is they're failing their client by not letting them know
Wow.
that this situation is waiting.
I
in the wings.
love that, Sir Larry. That is so true. You see, we talk about fiduciary relationships and all this stuff, all of this stuff, right? So, you as professional or financial professionals out there, while you're so focused on telling them how to make money, grow their money, accumulate money, etc., but if you don't teach them on how to protect this, that's a responsibility as well. You have to mention this, not just by growing it. That's very good. I love it.
Yeah, you're failing your client.
You're
if you
failing
don't.
them. I'm gonna use.
Can I add something to that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, go ahead, sir. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, we move from the topic a little bit. Let's talk about psychology of people, right? Because as human beings, we tend to run away from pain and run towards pleasure. That's human nature.
That's right too.
There's exception, of course. So as this relates to what Larry, Leslie, and you, Enrico, and I are trying to communicate here is people actually will not really put a dollar amount on two things. Number one is peace of mind. And number two is control. The reason why we do things the way we do things is because we want both.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want people telling us what to do. We live in the United States, which is the greatest country in the world, thank God. And we want to have peace of mind. Unfortunately, we're seeing the reverse going on in Europe, right? Everybody knows what's going on there. That's why people are willing to die for having peace of mind. that, hey, I can live free, home of the brave, land of the free. So what we're doing here is basically we're trying to, like you were saying, Enrico, not just for Filipinos, but everybody who work hard, and that's almost everybody, for the assets, to preserve, so that you can have a legacy when you're no longer here. That's basically what we're trying to do here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that insight, Raul. That's very important to understand too, you know. That's how human behavior really behaves. Now, in particular to what we're talking about on making money and understanding how to preserve it and etc. Right? So
Yes.
let's just talk about this one. We've been talking about living trust and living will. You know, I just want people to understand what's the difference between that, because I've been hearing two things here: living trust and living will. What's the difference? Is there a difference between the two?
Yes, there is. If you don't mind, I'll take this one.
Go ahead,
ahead.
Leslie. Yep.
A living trust is the package that we prepare and that it's our product. It is the vehicle. It's like the will, but it avoids probate. So it's the vehicle through which you leave all that you have and that you've created and acquired through your life. You leave that to your heirs and your loved ones, excuse me, upon your death. That's a living trust. A living will is just a document. We actually include it in our living trust package.
Okay, there you go. Yep.
But it's a document that is, we call it the Die with Dignity document. And what that is that it says if two doctors' opinions say that you're brain dead or
Terminally ill.
beyond, you know, you're so ill, you're not ever going to come back to,
You're in a coma or something.
you're, you know, in a coma,
Terminally ill.
or permanently ill, that you will allow them to pull the plug. So it's like that final end of life decision that you
That's
make.
where. Yep.
Yeah. So that's what a living will is. It's where you make that decision about them pulling the plug. I don't know if you all remember the Terry Schiavo case
Yes.
that happened a while back, where her parents and her husband were fighting over whether to pull the plug or not. And she, for 20 years, was in this state, this like vegetative state. And it was because she didn't have a living will in place. If she had had a living will in place, then she would have made that decision, and they wouldn't have been able to fight over this.
Perfect.
And she could have, ended her life peacefully. And
There you go. Peace of mind, right?
Very,
Exactly.
yes,
That-
very
that's-
important document.
Yeah,
Or
that's
peace
right.
of dying.
Peace of dying. Yeah.
That's actually true. The peace of dying.
Peace of
right?
mind or peace of your estate.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So,
Now, the living will also allows you to, or at least the living will that we provide allows you to determine specific things that have to do with the end of your life. For instance, if you're in irretrievable coma, there's no chance of you ever regaining consciousness, and the family says, let's pull the plug. The doctors will not pull the plug unless you have a living will.
Right.
All right. And of course, then with our living will, you can determine whether or not you want blood transfusion or pain medication. And there's quite a long list of things that you can choose in regard to the last days of your life and the process of passing on to the other side.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, don't want to be kept alive if they're severely ill or have Alzheimer's or something like that.
Yeah.
Prior to them losing their mental
Dignity.
faculties,
Yeah.
they can determine through this document how they want the end of their life to go. And it gives the doctors at a certain point that they determine the permission to pull the plug and let them go peacefully.
Wow.
Hence control.
There you go.
Yes,
the control again, right? Exactly.
Control of your own life. That's right.
When just trying to understand this one, living trust versus trust, living will and will. Is there a difference?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I know.
You
I
see,
know.
those are things that complicates people who are recipient of all of these verbiages, right? So,
Yeah.
living trust and trust. What's the difference between living trust and trust? Of course, without the word living. But what I'm trying to say, what's the difference between the two? Living trust and a trust.
You want to say?
Well, there's all kinds of different trusts. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, there's just all kinds of trusts.
Oh yeah. Speaking about different type of kinds of trust, there's what you call irrevocable and revocable trust. So can
Or irrevocable.
or irrevocable? There you go. So
Yeah.
anybody can talk about that. What's the difference between irrevocable and revocable trust?
Leslie?
I've been talking too much. Larry, you want to
No.
do that? Oh, come on. Go ahead.
Okay. A will or a will number one, because you need to throw that into the mix there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. A will, we know what that will do. It automatically, it only has to do with your dying. After you die is when the will kicks in.
Okay.
A living trust is a trust that protects you, your assets, and your wishes about your estate
Okay.
prior to your death, because there are powers of attorney, there's guardianship for your children if you have younger children, there's conservatorship. All of these things are part of a comprehensive living trust. So there are a lot of living issues that have to do with the living trust. An irrevocable trust is a trust that's formed where you want to eliminate all control from yourself. In other words, you want to put money in a trust and then you can't change it. You can't cash it out. You can't terminate it. You can't do anything. Once it's set in motion, it's under the control of a trustee, which has to be another person. And it's there, for example, perhaps to take care of maybe a educational fund for your children. You don't want to be able in a hard time to go in there and take that money to pay your mortgage.
Wow.
You want that to be absolutely unchangeable. I don't like irrevocable.
We do a life insurance, an irrevocable life insurance trust, for example.
As well.
Yeah.
Woo. You know
We
what?
actually do those.
I'm perspiring here. I know. Pinagpapawisan ako mga kap. I'm perspiring here. There's a lot of terminologies on this one. But yeah, thank you for
Ayos
giving
lang yan,
us
basta huwag ka lang mag-amoy patis. But I just said it's okay to perspire as long as you don't smell like fish sauce.
My God, this is crazy, guys. But you see, that's the reason why people, because of the complication, and then the terminologies here, probably that's one of the reasons why people don't want to even take a look at what this living trust and wills are. But I'm gonna tell you guys, even though it sounds so, the jargons is just so scary at times when you listen to it. And then, the easiest way to understand it only is it's expensive and it takes a long time. You don't want to even talk about it anymore, right? So,
Right. But what you don't need to do as representatives, you don't need to become trust attorney. You don't need to educate your client on every legal aspect.
That's right.
Like we're talking about today. You know that everything about there's no downside to a living trust. Everything about a living trust is good for your client.
yes.
So, only the most inquisitive client is going to want to know all of the details that we're talking about.
Technical aspects
And of course, there are ways that your representatives, and your associates can dig deeper into this knowledge if they really want to know it.
Yeah.
But I don't recommend that they become as detailed with the client as we're being today on this show, because all it would tend to do is confuse. People do not buy something they do not understand. All right. So,
I'm with you on that, Larry. Definitely.
yeah. So you need to be talking. You need to be talking not about the legal details, but about what they mean to the client.
Awesome.
All right. And in that case, you keep it as simple as you can and still get the point across. And if you do that, then the client is going to say, "Wow, yeah, I need that."
That's
And
right.
that's why I say people buy trusts. You don't sell them. What you do is you give them information that they can digest quickly and they can say, yes, I'm glad I found that out. I really need to do this.
Perfect, perfect. I thank you so much for that clarification, Larry. Just before we move forward, guys, I would just like to say that we're gonna have a quick break first. So and I'm actually just going to put some good questions here from the audiences, and I'm gonna be throwing it to you guys. Okay, so mga kap, don't go away. We'll be back in a few. Thank you so much. All right, we're back again. For those people who just tuned in, my name again is Enrico Pobre, and welcome to my In My Toolbox talk show. So we're talking about living trust, and we're talking about part of it, estate planning. We have our guest, of course, Raul is here of I4 Global, Leslie, and Larry is from Heritage Living Trust. So we're just having a good conversation here, mga kapatid. Maganda ang aming mga balitaktakan dito, may konting tawanan, because the reason why we have to have a little bit fun of this talk today, or the topic today, is because the living trust in or estate planning is not easy to grasp. But I'm telling everybody, the reason why we're talking about this topic today is because it's the most important part that you need to understand and you need to also have while you are building your assets. So welcome back again, guys, to the show. So let's just dive down to the second part of the topic. Raul, who needs a trust? Sinong may kailangan nitong trust na to? Oh, sorry. You're on mute, Raul. I'm so sorry about that.
I'm on mute?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Yeah, oh, okay, yeah. All right, because basically, in answer to your question, depends again on where you live. And in most states, what triggers trust is an estate value of $100,000.
Okay.
I've been told, like, if you live in Georgia, anything over $1 triggers trust.
What?
So you can tell the people there in that state, they need their money right away. But in general, California, where I live, it's $160,000 worth of assets. They just increased that. And I think in Nevada, where you are right now, Enrico, it's $100,000.
Okay, so what you're trying to say, everybody who has an asset, in a dollar amount of assets, anybody who has over $100,000 worth of assets here in Nevada, because this is a case-to-case basis, depends on what state, it's going to be subject to probate. Go ahead, Larry. You want to say something?
No, I don't mean to jump in. I just want to
sir.
interject that there's such a thing as creeping assets.
Oh, all right.
So your assets are going to be worth a lot more in 5 or 10 years than they are today.
That's right.
Right.
Look at how fast the value of homes is accelerating, and the fact that you're investing and your investments are going to grow. So you might be under that limit, to begin with, or be very close to it. But in 5 years, you may be way above it.
Oh, that's what you call creeping assets, right? So probably at this stage, it's not even $100,000, but 5 years right now, the value is going to be more than $100,000. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying, right now, when you set up your trust, first of all, you want a trust to say how you want your assets to be distributed. It has some of the same benefits of a will. Who gets your stuff and when do they get it and all that sort of thing.
That's right.
Sort of thing that, most people do that with a will, and they can do that with a trust. But if you only have 100,000 of assets today, and you have a home in 5 years, you could be worth $250,000.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And that happens without you maybe really being aware of it.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, you're inside the probate envelope, and it's a surprise when you die.
That's right. So
That's interesting, Larry. All the while, I thought creeping assets were assets that are waiting to creep into my estate, which I haven't gotten yet.
Those are the kind of assets you want. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, let's talk about Larry and Leslie here. Who is Heritage Living Trust?
The best.
I know, Leslie. Who are we?
The best, right?
We are the best. We are, we're a document preparation and publishing firm, estate planning, and we have been in business now. We're in our 33rd year, and we are A+ members of the Better Business Bureau without a single client complaint ever.
Wow, impressive.
Very, very proud of our reputation. We have about 1,500 contracted agents all around the country.
Okay.
So we're widely known, and we feel the finest product out there. You just won't find a finer product out there. That's
Yeah, we do. Basically,
Leslie.
we do. If I can jump in,
Go ahead.
I'm jumping in today, aren't I? We do really one thing, and we feel that we do it better than anyone else, and that is we do living trusts for clients who need the kind of protection that provides, and we do not sell insurance, annuities. Our company is devoted solely and completely to creating protections for your assets and establishing these safety measures for your estate.
Perfect.
That's what we do.
Awesome. I love that, and I think the director of IFR Global for Heritage Living Trust, Raul, let them know how they can get in touch with you for more information about this one.
Well, basically, you can either send an email. I can post that here on the chat. Well, is that okay? Or you can access that through Enrico. And then basically, I'll put my contact information there, and we can do virtual meeting like we're doing today.
Yes.
Or we can answer questions on the phone, whatever is comfortable. And if I may add also to what Leslie and Larry were saying, they're so modest about that, is, in my opinion, I've been in the industry for 30 years. This is the best value, okay, for your money. What Heritage will provide to the people, because again, make a long story short, if we're just talking about the trust, right, which the average estate of 500,000, 5% being lost to probate is 25,000, right? Just to trust. So a fraction of that is what the investment is. And that's not even including all the other documents that you were talking about, which is the powers of attorney, the living will, the directive here in California, what is this, conservatorship for children, things of that nature. When you add that up, it's easy. You can get that at $5,000 or upwards. Ours is as a fraction, so it's the best value, really. And like you said, there's no wonder, Leslie, they haven't had a complaint in 30 years.
That probably is the reason why, right? There's a lot of value that they get out of you guys. That's very good. In fact, I love working with companies like that. That they put the clients first. Very good. I actually love that.
Part of what we do, it adds great value, and that is that we offer free. Maybe you were going to cover that, but along with our trust, we offer free ongoing consultation. You can reach us when you get one of our trusts. You can reach us so that we can help you answer your questions and so forth. And that's for the life of the trust. And then we also do free changes, amendments in the trust.
I love free. Larry, I tell you, I love free stuff.
I know.
So.
Everybody loves free. And we don't know anybody else who does that. And yeah, that's just all part of our service. We include deeds at no charge, and we include unlimited funding letters. And I mean, there's just a whole lot of complimentary work that we do. And we don't know anybody else who does that.
Perfect.
And so, yeah.
I love the very open conversation here about your company, guys. But thank you so much. Okay, so just moving
All right, we'll
forward.
stop.
Moving forward. Okay, so guys, what I'm trying to look at here is that probate. The only way to avoid probate, as I'm looking at the conversation today, the only way to avoid probate is to have a living trust. Correct.
That's correct.
Perfect. So there you go, guys. So that's just what we're talking about today. Para hindi po kayo mahirapan, pag may nangyari sa inyo, naayos nyo na lahat ng yung dapat ayusin, pag nawala kayo sa mundong ito, itong probate, the living trust is going to be the one who's going to be speaking in your behalf, right? So that's exactly how it is. So let's before we end the show, I would want to go over a little bit of what's in the living trust. Let's just talk about what's inside the trust. Because the trust, like Leslie was saying, it's a book. It's a binder, That what's inside the binder are different tabs, right? There are different tabs inside the binder. Probably we'll start on the first part of the living trust, the abstract of a trust. What is the abstract of a trust, Larry?
Well, an abstract of trust is a simplified and condensed version of the trust, naming the principles of the trust and the people who are in charge of the trust.
So in short, this is the summary. This is a summary of the whole trust?
It's basically a summary.
Okay.
And it in the process where someone that you're doing business with may want to see a copy of the trust. It's a private document. You don't need to show them the
whole thing, right? Okay, very good.
We put the abstract or the certificate of trust in the very beginning, and that's only 6 or 7 pages, and it fulfills that requirement.
Okay, very good. So that's the first part of the trust. The second part of the trust is what you call the living trust document, which is, by what you're saying, that's the full version of the living trust, right?
That is go ahead, Leslie.
Yeah, that is actually the living trust, the legal document that has all of the articles and the provisions, and that's the one document that actually tells how you want your estate divided and distributed on your death. So
very good.
Yeah.
So that's where the wishes of the person is going to be putting in, and then that's also the place where you put your beneficiaries and any specific instructions that you would want to happen, right? That's where it is.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So now there's this probably you can help me with this one, Raul. There's what you call trustee. What does a trustee means? What is that? Ano ibig sabihin ng trustee? Ano ba meron dyan?
Basically, that's legal terms that we use, right?
Okay.
But the person in charge, okay?
Trustee is the
Normally,
person in charge.
Yeah, the people that create the trust, they go by trustor, trustee, right? Settlor, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So
and
the
then
trustee,
the people that come in behind them, they succeed them, right? They succeed them. So they are naturally called successor trustee.
Okay, there you go.
Successor trustees, they come in to the play of the picture, right? When the trustees are no longer available. They're gone. They're dead, right?
Oh, so this is what in succession. So there's a trustee. So when the trustee dies, there's somebody who's going to succeed it.
Right. Hence, we go back to our premises of doing things based that will give us peace of mind and control.
Okay.
Right. While we are alive, we want to take control, and we want to know we have peace of mind that we are in control.
Okay.
That's why it's a revocable.
Okay. So
term revocable.
Since you mentioned that revocable, Raul, when you open a revocable living trust, did I say it right? Revocable living trust. Now, when the person dies, will it still be revocable? Or it will automatically be an irrevocable.
That's right. It will automatically be an irrevocable because now, remember the people that are going to come in, the successor trustees, they have to follow to the letter the wishes of the trust.
Yes. Of
Okay,
course, yeah.
and it's now subject to implementation instead of subject to interpretation.
You know what? That's a very good idea to impart to everybody. Especially our listeners and viewers, the importance of knowing all of these verbiages. Since when I was growing up, Larry, Leslie, and Raul, I believe in Santa Claus. Okay.
What? There's no Santa Claus?
Yeah, I don't know, right? This is the reason why. I think
Oh my God.
I think he needs to have this trust that he has to sign because
Yeah.
when I put my wishes there, he has to follow it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I still believe in Santa Claus, but I just want to say that the person who forms the trust
Okay.
is usually 99% of the times is the trustee.
Yes.
By forming a living trust, you do not give up any incidence of control over the assets that you put in it. You're still in charge. You still can take assets in and out of the trust if you need to. So you're in total control as the trustee.
Perfect. Okay. That's good to know, because again, that's what Raul was saying. This is all about control. Okay. Let's talk about schedules of trust. This is another tab on the book, schedules of trust. So this is where you list all your assets and what you want in your trust. So how does it work again? Schedules of trust.
Yeah. The schedule section is it's a sort of an inventory of your assets, and
Okay.
it's a real good idea to go to that section as soon as you get your trust and just do a quick inventory, write everything down.
Oh, you can
and
write it by your handwritten. So there's a
you
page
just
there that you can.
handwrite
Okay.
and do a quick jot of all your assets.
Okay.
And the reason that that's a good idea is because if it's all listed there, before you're able to get it all notarized and everything, it shows your legal intent to have all those assets in your trust.
So what are the things? What are the items that you can put into that section? Like furniture or my car, my home. Okay.
My home, stocks, my bank accounts. Just start listing your titled assets. That would be for titled assets, not so much for personal property, but any of your titled assets.
Watch, my gold jewelries, etc. You can put it there.
Yeah. Don't put your credit
You
card
can put
in.
that would go in a different section.
Speaking
That's personal
about
property.
speaking about
That's
that.
right.
Speaking about what you just said there, Larry. Can you put your debts in living trust?
No, never put your debt. Don't put your credit cards. Don't put your debt in there. Look at your trust like a safe lockbox for all of your good assets.
Okay.
All right, that's what you want to put in your trust,
Including the creeping ones, right?
The creeping ones too.
including all the ones that are going to creep.
Oh well, there's nothing wrong to ask that question, right? I just thought that I can do away with that. Okay, the funding part. That's another tab of the living trust. The funding part. So this is where you transfer your assets into the living trust. So a while ago, the schedule of trust. These are just what the personal assets, and then the funding is where homes. Is that where it is? What do you put in funding?
What tab is that?
The fund is this the
Funding instructions?
Funding instruction tab? Is that what it is?
Yeah. It basically, just the word funding is fancy word for saying recording.
Oh, recording.
You see,
Okay.
because again,
Transferring.
so here's the best analogy. You buy a state-of-the-art safe that's fingerprint recognizable, or your eye retina recognizable, that biometric. You put all the nice valuables in the safe, but you forget to lock it. So it's still subject to people stealing it. So as this relates to the estate planning, if you don't fund or transfer the assets into your living trust, then you still subject yourself to probate. See, so we, as a service, especially in Nevada, as a service, because majority of our activities there, we actually see to it, if we can, we accompany the client to the county recorder's office, because it's an experience they'll never forget.
Yes.
It gives them that peace of mind knowing, look, man, I'm done. I'm almost like you're bulletproof. And you are from probate.
That's right.
You have to give emphasis to the fact that you need to put your assets into the trust. Just forming a trust and leaving your assets out of it is not going to help you much. It's just going to be a fancy will.
Exactly.
You have to put your assets into the trust. We use that word funding, which most people don't know what that means until we explain it.
Yeah.
But, we like the complexities of our business.
I know,
so we
right?
use those fancy terms.
That's
you know.
right.
But it's a transfer of your asset into the name of the trust. When you do that, then like he just said, your asset is safe. If
Very
you
good.
leave assets out of the trust and they add up to more than the minimum for probate, then those assets that are out of the trust will go through probate, even though you have a living trust.
Wow.
It's only the assets that you took the time to put into the trust.
Will
So
be
funding
protected.
is one of the most important things you do
So
when you form a living trust.
So if I have a house and lot, if I hope I understood this, guys, right. So if I have a house and lot right now, I have to go to the assessor's office. Is that right, Raul? And then have that house and lot be recorded that the living trust now is the one who owns it. Is that right?
Yeah, most of the time it's done through mail. I recommend people, spend the extra, make the extra investment and send it by priority because now it's trackable. You have a record, but in most cases you don't even have to. The USPS is pretty efficient, right?
That's right.
So most of the time you just mail the document. It's called the grant deed or the quitclaim deed. That's transferring or refunding the title from the name of the individual or the individuals into the name of the
There
living
you
trust.
go.
there you go. That's
a
correct.
notarized
Perfect.
document. It's a legal document, okay? And once it's recorded, and the reason why I use Clark County, because they're very efficient there. They're quick. I mean, you can do that same day. You can walk in and then wait, and it's recorded. Los Angeles County, I wish, you couldn't do that. So we have no option but to mail it.
Very good. So
And then it
ang
should come back.
so mga kapatid, ang ibig lang sabihin ni Raul sa kanila kanina doon, pag may property ka, kahit meron kang trust, kailangan mong pumunta sa assessor's office na ipapangalan mo ang property mo sa trust na. So yun yung tinatawag nilang funding or recording. You are transferring the asset to the living trust. That's what it means. Very good.
That's what it is.
Well, look at this one. You just what you just said there, Larry, about complexities of the industry. So there's a lot of verbiages here that we would want to understand too. We're almost done in the show, but just before we do that, I would want to understand this one: durable power of attorney. For assets, durable power of attorney for healthcare. First question first. What does durable means?
Legal.
Well, a power of attorney, a normal power of attorney is void at your death. So you may have a power of attorney, but when you die, that power of attorney is no longer any good.
Exactly.
Because power of attorney, what it does is it
While you're
appoints
still living.
an individual to act on your behalf. If you can't act on your own behalf, that person is appointed to act on your behalf. For example, so durable means that it's good after you die. The power of
There
attorney can be
you
used
go.
after you
All
die.
right. Okay. So if you only have a power of attorney, that document will no longer be efficient or will no longer take place once a person dies.
That's
Okay?
correct.
So the durable power of attorney means that even you dies, that legal document is still will be what do you call this? What's the word? Workable, or it's still going to be
Well,
honored?
it's still enforced, and
Enforced, there you go.
It can still be used by the person who's been named.
Perfect.
But I will, yeah, right. So that can be very helpful in things like banking.
I like this one. I need to understand this one too, Sir Larry. So, mga kapatid, so ang ibig sabihin ng power of attorney is also pag meron kang power of attorney, pag namatay ka na, hindi na pwede mangyaring wishes mo dun sa power of attorney na yun, ano? Pero if it's
Exactly.
durable power of attorney, when you die, it will still be enforced. I like the way you said it there, Larry. You understand Tagalog. I love it. Okay. So this now goes to your assets, which is actually your business as well. And this can also be part of your health care. You see, guys, there's a lot of more things that's in the tab. Another tab there talks about the living will or declaration of healthcare. I think Leslie mentioned about that a little while ago. We have that already. Very good. And I have another terminology here, guys. Pour over will.
Call the local number. Just wait on your caller
I'm
ID.
sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, we got some background noise.
Yeah, we got the phone here rang, but I think
No, it's not. It wasn't that. It was somebody was talking.
Okay.
All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the next tab is pour over will. What does it mean?
Pour over will?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's a document that, and that's a really good document in case there is something that is inadvertently left outside of the trust. That document sort of catches that asset, and though that asset may have to go through probate, it just depends, but it directs that asset to the trust,
Okay.
to be then distributed according to the terms of the trust.
Okay. So anything that is not listed into the trust when the person dies, and then the property, it's poured over to the trust. Is that what
Exactly.
it means? Okay.
So let's say the person bought a piece of property, and then right after that they passed, before being able to fund it into the trust, something like that. They just
Okay.
weren't able to get it into the trust. So that piece of property, the pour over will allow that property to
Poured over. Transfer.
pour over into the
that's right.
trust,
Yeah.
Okay.
so that
It
it
can't-
will. So that it will be distributed according to the terms of the trust.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very
it
good.
won't bypass the trust. It means that after it gets out of probate, it will automatically be poured into the trust, and the trust will say who gets it.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. So see, there's a lot of things here. Actually, there's another tab of the living trust. So there's a appointment of guardian for minor children. That's another tab. This is applicable if they have a minor in the family, right? So I think this is going to be understandable. Who was going to be taking care of the minor in cases? What's
Yeah,
happening?
it
going to
doesn't
happen?
apply to your grown children.
Yes.
It's only for your minor children.
I also love this tab, guys. The next tab, this is something that I was looking at as well. Separate property agreement. So this is a document that legally defines property between spouses. So you can actually name the property. Oh, this is my property. That's your property. Is that how it works? This separate property agreements?
Yes, because in some cases, right, I'm sure Larry and Leslie would agree, some cases where you have blended relationships, or the spouse had a previous relationship, they have assets there, and they have children there, more importantly, and same thing with the spouse, previous marriage. So when they come together, you're going to have the assets of the husband, assets of the wife, and joint. This is done so that you don't disinherit somebody accidentally.
Yeah.
So you have a schedule, right? Is that right, Leslie? Then you have a schedule for the husband, a schedule for the wife, and then
those are separate schedules. Okay.
Yeah.
Just if they want to keep that property separate,
Yes.
then that allows them to do that. If something they brought to the marriage was
That's it.
acquired before they got married,
Yeah.
if they want to keep it that way, then that document allows them to do that.
Wow.
So the wife, if it was the husband's and he brought it to the marriage, the wife
Right.
would have to sign her right away, sign her rights.
Okay. So I think I have to do that with my trust right now. I tell my wife, okay, this is mine and that's yours, okay? but sometimes wives, they have their ways, right? What is yours is mine, and what is mine is mine. I don't know living.
Yeah.
Enrico, you
I've
get
heard that before.
all your creepy assets.
Yeah, the creepy
done
ones,
trust
are
She
left for
doesn't
me.
want that.
And of course, another part of the living trust would be the last instruction to the family. Although I know this is not a legal document, but I think this is the love notes to the families, right?
Sure.
Yeah, sometimes those notes maybe are not so lovable. But,
You can go the other way.
You can say it, right?
It's your last chance to tell your kids what you think of them.
Oh my God, you can put it there, right?
Yeah, or to tell them how much you love them and appreciate them. It's sort of a private document that's to be read only by those you address it to. It gives you a chance to express yourself, to your children primarily.
Yeah, Enrico Pobre, my son, you're the handsomest of all the 4 siblings, etc. He can put it there, right?
Yeah. You can say anything you want. You can tell him to take a long walk on a short beer.
Well, I know those are the documents inside a living trust, and I'm actually going to take this chance to really tell you, Heritage Living Trust, that how you present your living trust is really amazing. So I would encourage everybody to look at their website, heritagelivingtrust.com. You would see how they do their business. They've been in the business for 33 years, like what you said, Leslie. It's A+ ranking as the business, a Better Business Bureau, the BBB, and congratulations for that achievement. And what's actually so great about that, no one ever complained to all the works you've done. It's not that you don't have any clients, but
No, that's not it.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let me just ask you this. Lawyers, because I know you guys are all in 49 states except for
Louisiana.
Louisiana. But my question here is, can any lawyer do whatever you guys are doing?
Well, any lawyer can form a living trust, but there's quite a difference oftentimes in what you receive.
Yeah.
We've seen all types of things. Not too long ago, we had a client come in who were mad at their attorney who had prepared a trust for them, and it was 25 pages in a manila envelope, and they were charged $5,000 for it.
Oh, wow.
We go the extra mile in giving, there's 13 documents here, and oftentimes attorneys will prepare only 3 or 4, the powers of attorney, the pour-over will, and the trust document for that exorbitant price. But we have 13 documents in our trust.
15, Larry.
How many?
15.
15.
Yeah, you forgot to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So I had a person who asked me this: will the living trust make everything tax free? Okay, who can answer that?
Don't we wait? Yes.
That's where you come in, Enrico, when you do the financial planning.
That's
Talk to
right.
them about
That's where
that.
I
That's
come
right.
in. Okay,
That's
you
right.
talk to me, right?
Yes,
So, well, I think, guys, we've tackled a lot of things with regard to the living trust. But definitely, mga kapatid, kung gusto niyo po ng more information about this one, definitely you can reach out to Raul Texon. He's the trust director for I4 Global. And of course, you can visit the website of heritagelivingtrust.com. You can get more information there. Raul, is there a number that they can get in touch with you that you would want to share them?
Actually, can I post that on the chat?
You can actually post it in the chat. You can mention here as well.
Oh, yeah, sure. You can call me at 818-427-3348.
Perfect.
And then I'm adding my email here is rknraul0416@gmail.com.
Thank you so much for that, Raul.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Harry, Larry, and any how they can get in touch with you?
Best way to get in touch with us is to go to the website. There's not, I don't know, you didn't mention the 10-minute presentation.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
A telephone presentation. You can find the number right on the website. You also can respond off of the website and give us your information. If you'd like us to call you, we'd be happy to do that, but we always will refer you back to the professional who sent you our direction. And we would appreciate it if you leave a message on our website that you tell us who that person may be so that we can refer you, let that person know and they can follow up with you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Larry. Leslie, would you like to add on that?
As far as contact information,
Yep.
our toll-free number is really easy to remember. It's 888, and then it's Heritage Trust abbreviated, so it's HER for Heritage, and then TRST for Trust.
Perfect.
888 HERTRST.
Oh, I love that. That's easy to remember. Anyway, guys, mga kapatid, maraming salamat po sa pakikinig dito sa In My Toolbox. Again, we're actually live. We're actually not live. We're alive. Every Thursday at 8 p.m. po in My Toolbox. Again, my name is Enrico Pobre. Let me leave you this, guys. The most loving thing that you can do for your family is to create a living trust for their protection. The most dangerous thing that you can do is to procrastinate. There's no time like the present. Take that important step, talk to your trust representative, and arrange to have your living trust done today. So, ang ibig ko lang pong sabihin dito, napaka-importante po as part of your financial planning or estate planning is to have this living trust. Sana po nakatulong ang information na naibigay namin sa inyo today about the living trust and estate planning. So again, guys, I would like to thank our guests, Raul Texon and Larry Baldwin and Leslie Hale for giving us great insights with regard to the living trust. Again, my name is Enrico Pobre. I'm going to see you guys again next week, Thursday at 8 p.m. here at PHLV Radio ng Bayan. Thank you, guys. Good night.